We could call it ride or die. The week ahead is the week of Monday, the 14th of October through to the 21st. And we're going to notice that we have a big, giant cardinal Grand Cross forming in our sky that involves Pluto and Mars, a full moon in Aries, across, of course, from the sun in Libra. This big box in our sky is not an easy week ahead. However, we have some light touches with the Venus trine Neptune that could bring a little softness to what's ahead for us. But all said and done, with the comet becoming visible as this week begins, that's the comet Atlas, which should be available to our visible naked eye as a good or bad omen, coming through the evening sky, as well as this big Aries full moon that's not an ordinary full moon, is coming off of that eclipse that we had in April. So it's just about what the eclipse wants to fulfill from April the 8th, 2024, total solar eclipse. This is one of those gravity-filled weeks where things that happen in this week ahead will be in our memories. We'll have kind of an anchor for 2024. We'd say, oh yes, 2024, the year of the things that happen in October. That's my feeling. That's my take on this sky. Now, one thing about it is I do world events here. My name is Lori Lothian, by the way, welcome, but I cover your sign as well. So we're going to go into your sign with a focus on this Grand Cross and how it matters to connect the dot with the vibe of Venus and Pluto, as well as the pivotal changes that are trying to happen in the Aries and Libra axis of your chart from the eclipses that began last year in 2023, how these are coming to a major critical turning point. So ride or die, grit and grace, S or get off the pot, things want to happen. And when I say happen, cardinality, signs of Libra and Aries and Capricorn and Cancer all activated means change wants to happen. Something has to be done. Things will have to move forward in a new direction with new momentum for me, for you, and for the world. So again, if you're new, again, welcome back. If you're regular, if you're new, welcome for the first time. You might want to check out a few things about me. I use fixed stars and minor asteroids, and we'll be talking about the asteroid Icarus, who falls from the sky because his wings melt when we take a look at the astrology of the Middle East in a bit. But we'll also be talking a little bit as well today about the Sabian symbol where the moon is happening. Now, I actually did a big deep dive video. This is the April 17th full moon in Aries forming a grand cross in our sky. I did a deep dive video already. On this bad moon rising, I did that video already and it's already out there. And I did talk a lot about the world players on the stage who are impacted by the moon. So I'm not going to do it again, but just so you know, it's the biggies, right? This is a full moon that's going to be smack dab connecting to Kamala Harris's natal moon, for example, Putin's Mercury, for example, opposite Netanyahu's, opposite Joe Biden's sun, for example. As I say, Putin's Mercury, yeah. So everybody gets in the mix. And of course, Netanyahu's country that he's in charge of is involved because their Aries ascendant is squaring this full moon. It's going to impact what we're looking at on the world stage as the world players of what the heck is going on. That's pretty dramatic. So just go watch that video separately. But instead, we're going to just really focus on the fact there's a cardinal Grand Cross in our sky. But at the same time, we have a surprise from Venus when she's opposite Uranus, and then she's trine Neptune. So there's a lot of other elements to talk about. Righty, the Sabian symbol that I want to bring up for the moon is an interesting one. It's a double promise. And I think about that, a double promise, and I think of duplicity because it's like you're going to promise two people one thing, or I'm going to promise you duplicity. And in fact, in the book that I have for the double promise Sabian symbol, the author Diana E. Roche talks about this being about duplicity and manipulation and two-sidedness. And so there's just something about this moon that feels to me like the double promise is like promises, and you don't get what you're promised. That's my feeling. That's my take on it. We're going to go ahead now and we're going to look at the sky together. And I want you to know that I am using the Western tropical zodiac. This is not sidereal, and I'm using the whole sign house system because it works, and it's the ancient timing tool house system that I find the most valuable. If you want to learn what your rising sign is or cast your chart in whole sign houses, go below to my description box and I have a free tutorial. And also the other thing I want to tell you about is my 2025 videos are already on the pre-sale till the end of this month of October. That's a price you're never going to get again. You can buy like 12 videos, each 2 hours long, and or individual videos plus a PDF guidebook. If you would like that kind of content for your 2025 year ahead overview, that material is not available on YouTube. It is my yearly fundraiser for microphones and time stampers and personal, like, virtual assistants and people to help me with this channel so that I am not the one woman show. And I raise money every year for my channel by doing this fundraiser and for my astrology career. A quick note about something I was going to tell you about that. Well, it's in the description box. Click the more button and everything is under there, but I'll try to pin it to the comments as well. The link to the 2025 pre-sale. I'll deliver that product to your email box on November 17th because I am in the middle of the production. Okay, so let's get talking about the sky and let me bring up a picture of the sky. Now, I'm going to do something I haven't done on this channel before. I'm going to look at the nation of Iran's natal chart. As we all know, as I'm recording this Saturday, October the 12th, for my Patreon community, you guys get this on Monday, October the 14th. I've been saying on my channel, I had a dream that October 14th was going to be pivotal. I don't know if it was for my life or for the world. And I know a lot of people in my comments said, I've been dreaming too of October 14th. I mean, I never dreamed dates, really. I did dream about the trade towers going down before it happened. I've dreamt about other disasters before, but I just got a date and I don't know what it means. But because there's this tension in the world right now, in which Israel is basically threatening to retaliate against Iran, and Iran is like, don't do it. Whatever you do, because then we will put a fatwa out, which means a pronouncement that we are indeed going to use nuclear weapons. Now, you might not know this, but Iran doesn't use nuclear weapons because it's against the traditions of Islam to have a weapon of mass destruction. In some fundamental way, it's against the theocratic nation's, supreme leader choice to not have those kinds of weapons. Whether you believe it or not, that's what is supposedly true. And they do have nuclear and uranium, and it is enriched, but not as well as it could be. And they don't have like a detonation devices necessarily ready. But I was listening to a Middle East expert on YouTube talk about it yesterday or today, and both days. And the consensus is that they have a way to make a quick bomb. You know what I mean? They have enough ingredients that if they had to retaliate against a strike of any significance, such as the blowing up of their oil fields or of their nuclear stockpiles, then they have some stash somewhere to throw it back, and they throw it back at Israel, which is an absolute disaster. And so what we want not to see is a conflagration of war that leads to nuclear exchanges in the Middle East. It's not that big an area, and there is such a thing as nuclear fallout and radiation. So my concern about this week is it feels very Bay of Pigs. It feels very 1960s Cuban Missile Crisis moments here. And unfortunately, in the United States, there's no one really leading the country. I don't know who's really leading the country, some guy named McGurkin or something. But, obviously Kamala's on the campaign trail. Kamala Harris is on the campaign trail, and Joe Biden's out to lunch. All right, let's get going. And I do know that, was it Putin rushed in to talk to the president of Iran just around the time I'm recording, maybe the 11th or 12th of October. And also that Joe Biden had a half-hour call with Netanyahu and tried to bribe him, saying, like, if you just take a chill pill, like, we'll promise we'll send you money, weapons, and everything you need forever and ever. Just whatever you do go to war in a major way just before the election, right? Because that's not good for stabilizing the Democratic Party's position of power, because according to the American University professor, things such as a recession or a war can weaken the Democratic Party's likelihood of succeeding in winning the election, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Shall we continue with Iran and then move to your sign? And when you're listening to your sign, listen for your sun sign. If you want to think about career and purpose related matters, your moon can represent your body, your home related matters. Your rising sign is certainly often very accurate and can represent the most specific and accurate delineation for listening today. However, some people find their sun sign to resonate more, and maybe that's because you're living more from your soul, your eternal essence, the sun, and the ascendant is the character, the avatar, the role you play, and you're no longer just living the role, you're living from your truest essence. The moon is the animating force that brings the body to life, that breathes it in and out, that leaves the body when you die, right? So it's like your temporary sanskaras, bundles of character, the eternal you condensed into a plasma field or something that animates the body and carries memory and carries karma. We leave the body, we're not enlightened by any means, right? We come back in, it seems, and recycle through the system. And we talk from the other side. I mean, I'm a medium. I've talked to dead people. They're not enlightened. I've had specific conversations with dead people, and they're very much just like they were when they were here, except they're more kind, loving, and forgiving. They recognize the error of hatred, envy, enmity, all that stuff. All right, so I've had contact with dead people in my life through dreams and through just talking to them. So I can say that there's a part of us that does not have a body, but is not by any means like a saint. So this is just the transit chart. We're not going to look at that right now because I've got a bunch of asteroids for the nation of Iran that are active, but rather I want to show you first. Let me just edit this and recently used. Let's put Iran up there. This is the nation of Iran in one of the charts. It's the formation of the republic. There's another chart that's a Taurus rising for when Khomeini took over after the revolution. But let's just put it this way, the coup. This is literally a chart that has accuracy when I've used it. So April 1st, 1979 at 3 p.m. Tehran, Iran is the chart of this nation. It is a Leo fire sign, as we see, just like is Trump, just like is J.D. Vance. All right, these are Leonine energetics. And the Leo lion in the sky, he's here for Iran. In this natal chart, I don't want to go into too much depth. I want to show you instead, I want to show you the solar return chart for this nation in a year in which they are facing a probability of a war engaging a broader regional war, being thrust into the center of it, really reluctantly, honestly, at this point, being strong-armed into a war by a belligerent predatory nation that has, decimated open-air prison and all of that. Sometimes I wonder why it's okay for one country to defend itself, the right to defend itself, but it's not all right for other countries to defend themselves against aggression from that particular nation, nor is it even, feasible that occupied peoples is even somebody who is able to defend themselves, for example, right? They don't have a military. So here they don't have borders that are just theirs. All right, so this is the Iran chart, and you can see the ascendant is at 20 degrees of Cancer right here in the solar return. It's not its main chart, it's its birthday chart from 2024 to 2025 birthday. Yes, I see that it says March 31st. A solar return chart is always cast for where you live or where you were born, including the country, Tehran, but it also sometimes can be a day before or after your actual birthday because it's an astronomical birthday when the sun is at the degree and the minutes it was when the nation was born or you were born. And sometimes that is not always a calendrical same birthday. So the April 1st birthday for Iran becomes March the 31st, 2024. If you look at the sky for this particular story, I have a bunch of scary asteroids in the mix. I just couldn't help myself. I'm not histrionic. I'm just looking at it. First of all, before I talk about the asteroids, including Icarus, where there's going to be somebody falling from power, this does not look good, by the way, for this country or its peoples. When we talk about the ascendant, we talk about the identity of the country, and it's Cancerian. It's protective of home and homeland. That's exactly the Cancerian imperative. As we all know, Mars is moving through Cancer right now, giving the energy of this country through till November the 4th, a huge amount of desire to fiercely fight for safety and home and homeland. Then the warrior instinct has been activated. As well, we have on the ascendant of the nation in the solar return chart an asteroid. Oh, I wonder if I got rid of the picture for you guys when I just did that. Probably I did. Let me bring it back. the software is trying to navigate with you guys in this. So I'm just minimizing a bit. The asteroid on the ascendant of the temporary Cancerian identity of the nation of Iran is called Echeclus, Echeclus, Echeclus. Who knows how to pronounce it? It's asteroid number 60558. And it's a centaur who was killed violently, rammed in the face with a blunt spear. Okay, let's just go. Violently rammed in the face with a blunt spear. Dead. Okay, so that's not a strong character, that violent death of the centaur for the ascendant, because it represents the body of the nation, the identity of the nation being rammed by a blunt spear. Think projectile, if you like, right? And killed. So that's not too great. It's also ruled by the moon. The moon in the astrology of a nation is the people, we the people. The moon of we the people is in the house of bad fortune, the sixth house, which also represents the labor force or the working class people. So they're trying, the defense of the everyday Joe, the citizens of the country, are literally part of what the Iranian face forward image is about. But we see the moon in a place of challenge, the place of, as I said, bad fortune. And it can also be a place of disease and illness. And certainly war always brings that. You have power outages, you have sewage problems, you have clean drinking water problems. So the people in the house of illness, sickness, bad fortune, does not feel good, does not look good at all. Now, also Pluto falls in the solar return here, unfortunately, in a place of great difficulty as well. That is Pluto sitting in the 8th house of the sign of Aquarius. And it's because the birthday happened before Pluto moved into Capricorn. And therefore, the 8th house in a mundane chart can be the house of mass death. And Pluto is plutonium, uranium, bombs, weapons, and destruction, chaos, ruthlessness, and brutality in the 8th house of the temporary national chart for solar return of Iran. What about this asteroid America? I've got this strange thing here, and I don't know if you guys see it, but anyway, there's asteroid America sitting on the descendant, and the descendant represents the open enemies or the adversaries. So here's the nation, and it's looking across the way in this birthday chart of March to March of 24 to 25 at America, sitting in the place of the enemies, and the visible part of the enemies, not even hidden enemy, on the top half of the descendant in the solar sphere, meaning that the nation of I is clearly perceiving America as an open enemy, and America is looking back at it as an open enemy relative to the asteroid. So there is enmity and enemying up here between these two countries. It doesn't also look good in this chart to see the south node in the 4th house of land, property, and homeland, because it means loss of land or loss of property or loss of territory of some sort possible for this country in this solar return year. Now, what about the smaller asteroids that I had mentioned to you? Let's talk a little bit about Icarus, first of all. Icarus is about falling from the sky and having, your wings melt. And, I talked about Icarus and a leader falling from the sky. And that was when there was a death of the former Iranian president falling from the sky in a helicopter. Okay. So you could see that was going to happen, and that happened after the March 31st, 2024, I believe, timeframe. And so we may have already seen Icarus falling from the sky, midheaven, leader or political power person. We may have already lived through that story, and it might be done, but it still is kind of lingering. It's there, and it means that possibly there's still more power falls for that country, for sure. Salacia means scandal and scandalous news and scandalous information or stories about sun, leader of. Now, certainly falling from a sky in a helicopter has already happened, and that could have been that story as well. Pan for pandemic is the government panicking about what to do in the situation that they find themselves in. Quite conceivably, I imagine if there's a potential of a nuclear weapon being aimed at them by a belligerent predatory nation, ethno-state, that they would be panicked. I can only imagine that would happen. So keep that in mind. What are the other asteroids here? Well, this little one on the midheaven is Poseidon. And Poseidon is a sea god. But it's not about the sea. It's about earthquakes and typhoons and storms, because the tempests of Poseidon are famed. He literally is the guy that creates tempestuous storms and earthquakes in mythology, and he is sitting on the midheaven of the sky, meaning a earthquake, a shakeup, a tempestuous storm of the leadership or the power structures of the country seems to be indicated in this year, squaring Asteroid America. And America isn't a friend, in fact has demonized this country for lots of reasons. It has to do with the Saudi oil and desire not to have any of the Shia versus the Sunni nations, not to have the Shia nations, which are more fundamentalist, destabilize the oil supply. Now, over here, we're going to talk about Jupiter. Jupiter is always about justice and always about something good trying to happen. And he's not badly placed in the nation of Iran's solar return, because that's called Jupiter in the house of his joy. He's in Taurus. He can be protective over earthly assets, resources, etc. So we don't mind Jupiter's placement for this chart for the solar return, but who's he sitting with and why? This is called Siwa, and over here is another potential element, Klotho. Klotho is the spinner of fate at 17 degrees, like the three fates in Morai, who spin and weave our fate. So fated events are connected with shocking, surprising elements, Uranus, but yet Lord Jupiter is in charge. When I read Siwa to you, Siwa, asteroid number 140, she is a Slavic mother goddess, protector of women's work and women's destiny. And her name comes from the word Siwa, meaning alive and living. And it's about being involved in a process of breaking down or breaking through that leads to major insights, the ending of fixated beliefs, crisis of death and regeneration. Now, breaking something down to make room for something better. One thing I will say is that if you are a female in this country, you do not have a lot of liberty, power, or freedom. And if that is something that Siwa with Jupiter justice might be trying to do by this shakeup, earthquake in the system of this country, fine. I know that the way the USA likes to do things is called regime changes. The way the nation that's going to lob weapons towards this country does things is sometimes with blunt force trauma. We will see what's going on here, but every country is entitled to their autonomy and their sovereign national boundaries. That's a tenet of the world order. And a theocratic nation, a nation that is based on religion instead of separation of state and religion, happens in the world, right? It's a part of reality. We have different types of countries. If anyone wants to argue, though, that the nation of I isn't theocratic, then you're not looking at what's really going on, because it has become a very deeply religious, a messianic leadership in that country as well. Okay, so that just wants to say, I don't think this looks too good for the nation of Iran, and that's why I'm worried about this week ahead. This week ahead is a critical turning point with an Aries full moon that squares the nodes of fate, that squares the Pluto, Mars oppositional axis. On the outside wheel, you're seeing the nation of Iran's natal chart as it pertains to the current stories in the solar return chart. So for sure, the nation of Iran has just gone through its Chiron energetic return, qualities of life. They're trying to figure out, oh, that's not it. That's the current sky. I apologize. Recently used. I think it can be a Chiron return. It's not 50 years old from the 79 restart. There's the outer chart of Iran, and there's the solar return of Iran. That's much better. When Iran was born as a country, as a Leo rising, it had Pluto in the third house, which is plutonium, right? And is also to do with weapons of mass destruction and brutality. But more important to me is that it's also on the south node in the house of property, land, and homeland in the solar return. This is indicating massive destruction is possible through weaponry of some sort in the territory of the country. So this, again, this week is going to be daunting. And we see that the 29 exalted Jupiter anaretic in Cancer, which belongs in the 12th house, which is a mystical and spiritual house, by the way, of the country of Iran, is on the ascendant of Iran. This can amplify Iran's temporary Cancer home protection with the Jupiter exaltation energy could indicate as well backroom power struggles or backroom powers and deals and negotiations with other world leaders from where Jupiter is. Like, in other words, when Vladimir Putin goes to talk to the president, that's a Pluto ascendant story, because the 12th house natal Pluto is in the house of far off foreign shores. So a foreign leader coming to the aid, rescue, or consultation of the nation of Iran. Now, so much is going on here in the sky, but one of the things that really captures my eye and gives me hope that things will work out at the end of the day is that the midheaven, or the high noon, or the part that would represent the leaders and leadership of the nation of Iran, should be clear here. I call the nation of the pariah state that's forming in the Middle East. But the midheaven here is conjunct Jupiter in the house of its joy. And there's almost like a breath of relief. Jupiter on the ascendant is protective for the nation of Iran. The midheaven is co-joined Jupiter. There's some kind of Jupiter story that wants to emerge. At the end of the day, looks like escaping the worst possible hardship for what looks like an extremely difficult sky for this country. If you want to know why they're so passionately religious, or that's what's happened, because there's a lot of reasons about destabilization of the country based on shenanigans of regime changes and stuff. We're going to say that there is a absolutely amazing, and this is a natal chart, right? And this is a 7th house. So in the 8th house, this is an Aquarius 7th house over here for Iran. But if you can see the stellium here in the 8th house of occult mysteries, you got to believe it. There's a couple of oracles like Pythia active in the chart as well, but I didn't draw them in. This is a country who's gone into more of a way of being in the world that is about the mysterious, the spiritual, the ritualistic, the magical. Let's just call it a spade. And when it was born, it had that Venus, South Node, Mars, Mercury, stellium, Venus exalted in the sign of Pisces. There's a lot of piety that comes with that Venus, pious religious stuff, as also with celibate and super strict rules for females that happen with that. But it is by an earnest 8th house energetic, the very karmic house, by the way, that the country is that way. And also finally, my feeling is that because in the solar return all by its very self, right? And I'm done with this for everyone. You can see that Mars is the god of war in the house of foreign countries. And there is foreign countries going to war or attempting to go to war with it in this particular year. 2 malefics, Mars and Saturn in the 9th house, with fog of confusion, Neptune in the solar return chart, can definitely be like the fog of war, but it's not the fog of war that belongs to Iran. It's other countries and their fog of war, and a religious war at that, a pious war, a righteous holy war can happen when we see Venus in the sign of Pisces in the 9th house. But it's not the war that's being created, it's the war that's being waged against the nation of Israel that has a almost messianic Neptune, Venus, pious, religious, 9th house action. And lastly, because it's a theocracy, it's possible that this could mean the ending of the supreme leader, the head, the guy, like the Khomeini type guy, because of 2 malefics here. Possibly there will be a stealthy attempt to take out the head of that country, because the real head of the country is the head of the religious part of the story, right? All things are made true by that story. So anyway, in a country that's theocratic, you may have administrative power, and a president can be administrative power, but the head of the country is the religious leader of the country, like the Pope of the country, declaring what shall be so. And I believe that there may be a decree that, I think it's called a fatwa. It's like the rules aren't written down, but it's spoken, and a decree about what can or cannot happen regarding the refrainment of the country from choosing to develop weapons of mass destruction that are nuclear, and changing their policy based on an existential threat. So let's see what happens. Now let's go ahead and do your sign in the week ahead. You are not a country under existential threat. You are a human being going through a week that starts off smooth and then it kind of gets into a bit of a gnarly mess. The smoothness starts off early in the week. We don't mind it. We have a nice little sun trine Jupiter and a sense that hope is possible and all is well. But then the sun's also squaring Mars. Eeks, there's confrontation and conflict. Then Venus, this is happening Monday and Tuesday. Venus then on Wednesday goes into an opposition, like Tuesday, Wednesday to Uranus. But then she right after that trines Neptune. In my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter that goes out on Sunday, I described it as a kumbaya vibe after a time of calamity. So we could get kumbaya energy coming through Wednesday, Thursday. We're all going to try to like hold hands and sing a song and be one and try to find harmony after calamity or during calamity. However, it is on Thursday, the 17th, that moon is going to happen, and it is taking cue from the total solar eclipse that happened October 8th. That's because a full moon is always an extension 6 months later of the seeds planted by the new moon. So I'm not going to dive too much into that part of the story, because if you watch my moon video that came out a few days before this, we got a week before this, like a week ago, you will find a deep dive, very long concentration of information for your sign. And you can jump to the timestamps already. Somebody commented on my video that there's like lots of ads, like one every 3 minutes. And I looked at that. It's called the default ads by YouTube. I'm not setting them. But I know what the algorithm's doing. It's saying people click to their timestamps in the chapters or in the pinned comments, and means that people don't watch the whole video sequentially. When we get to the all signs, they jump to their sign. And so what YouTube's AI algorithm for ads is doing is giving you an ad before every sign. Sorry, too bad. It's like makes me money. But you don't have to listen to them sequentially, and you can hit the skip button. You can join my Patreon community for $5 and it's ad-free early access. You never have ads, or you can get YouTube Premium. But it is a business model for YouTube and is a business model for me. And if you don't advertise on YouTube, they don't actually promote your videos. So I can only grow my channel if I'm advertising and letting the default ads run. So for those of you who don't like it, too bad. She's just too bad. All righty. Let's go ahead and do everybody's story sign by sign. We'll start with Aries this week ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk for you on your sign. Listen for sun, moon, and rising. I explained what the difference was at the beginning of the video. I'm going to talk about the fact that Venus will be opposing Uranus around Monday and Tuesday. And I want to talk about what that surprise might be, or the unexpected development regarding Venus Scorpio themes in your life. But I'm also going to bring into the story the wedge that's forming, which I did not cover in any detail at all during my full moon in Aries video. So this is a new story that I haven't discussed. I'm going to talk about the wedge in the sky that activates Jupiter retrograde in the sign of Gemini as he trines the sun and Juno in Libra together. They're holding hands. And I'm also bringing in Chiron and the moon, because Chiron is embedded into this full moon and what is the chironic wound that wishes to be healed. We'll talk about the wedge for each sign. Settle in, get relaxed. I hope you enjoy the ride. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, especially if you're in the live premiere. Hit that like button. It so supports the algorithm. The algorithm supports the channel, and I am supported. It's a chain reaction. All right, so I'm going to start off. I'm going to spend I'm going to guess, if I have my druthers, 45 minutes. Lately, my videos are very long, but I'm going to try my best to give you what I can within 1 hour for each sign. We should go through no longer than an hour together here. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. So let's just focus on the two stories. Kind of Monday and Tuesday, Venus is forming that opposition to Uranus, where you could have a jolt or a surprise or something unexpected occur that connects you to matters of your finances. But because she then afterwards directly talks to Neptune, there's some kind of sweet wedge there as well. Again, kumbaya. What is it that's going to maybe take you a bit by surprise, to do with your money with your partner, your business partner, things to do with money that comes from resources that are not directly earned, and of course, Algol, the wealth star in the second house. But with Neptune, the dreamy one over in the 12th house, it could also be a positive surprise regarding matters to do with finances and far off foreign shores or revenue generated from those places, especially if you generate Neptunian revenue, which is marginal, creative, artistic, or YouTube-y, anything with a videography platform. All of Venus' surprises are not negative, even though she's in her detriment. She's still a benefic in an 8th house of financial matters. So there's a bit of a money surprise coming Monday or Tuesday, and it might find yourself jolted a bit, but at the end of the day, it should feel better. It should feel good. And, sometimes 8th house are debts, like you get a credit card bill and you're like, what the hell is this? But the trine to Neptune tells me it all works out. When we look a little further ahead at the wedge I really want to talk about, then we're going into this part of the sky that's really activated more directly, more acutely on Wednesday and Thursday as the moon is moving forward, forming a conjunction to Chiron Wednesday and Thursday, an opposition to Sun and the goddess of partnership, and a wedge to Jupiter. In essence, maybe you're going to have an amazing opportunity to heal a wound about your appearance or your sense of self that connects to a wound you've been healing since 2019 that involves some prosperity, bounty, luck, or exceptional goodness connected to travel, teaching, short distance travel, by the way, teaching, things to do with your writing projects, your social media projects, and it connects you to the house of partnership. You could get a contract, like an story, you're online and you're sharing your stuff on Instagram Reels, and suddenly you get a contract from a major sponsor, or it's like a beautiful opportunity to be in partnership with somebody else, and you can't believe your luck. It's almost like you're being asked to partner with something or someone. If you're in a committed relationship already, it can bring a bounteous and exciting opportunity within that relationship for a trip together, and it feels very healing. You need the journey. It's time to go off and do something together. Contractual agreements of all kinds in business and love are favored Wednesday and Thursday. And again, Jupiter brings things from the past. He is retrograde. In essence, what have you been doing since July the 15th? Because that's the territory Jupiter is transversing backwards over. What have you been doing since July the 15th in writing, communicating, teaching, travel? Will you go travel to a place you've been before? It doesn't mean on Wednesday and Thursday you travel. You can plan the travel Wednesday and Thursday, but there's themes of that in the air. Finally, 3rd house has to do with social events, neighbors, a neighborhood, a sibling one younger than you, and there's a lot of good, positive, bounteous vibes there on Wednesday and Thursday. Ultimately, Jupiter says, can I bring you something good? And you want to say, absolutely. Don't forget, he's retrograding, but he's moving towards your Aries sun, your Aries ascendant, or your Aries moon in a sextile. So he's super favoring something good for you in the Wednesday, Thursday sky. Don't be afraid of this week ahead. It has a nice little glow up for you. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. So first of all, the week it's a Venus story, right? You are Venus ruled, and I can't not talk about the fact that she's going to bring you a surprise. Now, she's in the house of marriages, long-term committed love stories. I should have got rid of the asteroid here, Poseidon. Maybe you've been going through some tempestuous storms or some turbulence and some earthquakes in your long-term committed love sky. And now we see a little surprise, but you're the freedom-loving, rule-breaking, rebellious, inventive, quirky, Uranian impulse. You may surprise your partner. They may not surprise you, but it could go either way. It is basically a chord between you and a significant other in business or love, and a surprise element, especially, by the way, if you're involving anything to do as well with Venus over here, and agreements and contracts as well, so including legal ones. So that's positive for you. Now, that wedge forms once Venus gets into a trine or a flow to Neptune. So I would say it's kind of like, Monday and Tuesday, a bit of a surprise. But as we move a little forward, like Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday into Thursday, we begin to feel the love as Venus is flowing to Neptune and says, and it all works out, because now you brought in some support of goodness, of dreams come true, wishes, goals, and plans being realized, something good happening regarding career gains or social groups of belonging, something smooth, time with friends heals the jolt to your business or love partnerships, and you find succor or soothingness and goodness in groups of belonging and friends. Most important to me is the wedge that comes up a little bit later, and it starts to really show up on Wednesday and Thursday into Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to feel this Jupiter involvement here in your second house of money, earnings, and possessions in a flowing relationship to Sun, Juno in the house of work, and in a flowing sextile to the moon Chiron. Now, that's going to be a full moon in your 12th house. This can look like an amazing opportunity for a job, an incredible like a salary raise or promotion, getting hired at your dream job. That's Jupiter in the money earning space. And that's, of course, Sun, Juno in the house of work and employment. Amazing opportunity to possess something that you really, it's bigger, larger than life. Possessions are the second house. Did you want to possess an animal, possess a new rental property? The Sun rules real estate, and that's contracts. So you may possess a new opportunity for an ideal rental property that comes at you on, Wednesday, Thursday through to Friday. You don't want to discount the fact the full moon is in the 12th house of your own wounds of self-undoing. And it could include breakthroughs and addictions, because things we put in our mouth and noses where Jupiter's transiting backward over old ground that he's been through since mid-July, and now you're going to look at it squarely again. And this can look like a very blessed window of time where you make some major shifts in self-undoing patterns, especially ones that include addictions and escapist substance use of any kind. 12th house people, Chiron, can be a therapist, a shaman, a guide, a teacher, a mentor, a healer, coming from the far off foreign shore, even to really aid you in a monetary or a dietary problem. Ultimately, no matter what Jupiter does, even in his retrogradation through to February, he's still trying to deepen or expand your bounty financially. This looks like some bounty from the past may emerge for you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as well. And where that money comes from is anyone's guess, but because debts and indebtedness is where the Sun is sitting, someone who owed you money pays you money. Jupiter could do that for you as well. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Well, first of all, Venus is going to oppose Uranus, and that's Monday, Tuesday, a surprise or unexpected development between work and health, pets and rentals, and Uranus in the 12th house of secret backroom deals and negotiations, things out of your view. You can be blindsided a bit here because you can't see Uranus properly. So there could be a hidden enemy that's poking at you in the workplace. There could be a sudden shocking surprise or unexpected development regarding foreign people, foreign places, foreign lands, but maybe connected to your work environment, Venus. Possibly in a situation like that with Mercury co-present, and you've had some tempestuous storms, by the way, maybe in your work, your health matters, your addictions and self-undoing. But Mercury is with Venus in that 6th house on, Monday, Tuesday. And it can be also some major unexpected but positive changes about home and home situations if you rent a property out or want to rent it out, or you're the tenant. And that's because Mercury rules your 4th house of property, land, and homeland. And also because of the Kumbaya sextile to Neptune that really begins to form Tuesday, Wednesday, then we're going to get into another vibe, which is sort of like, and everything works out and everything happens to come to a dreamy, clear resolution. Neptune is retrograding, so he's not doe-eyed or foggy-eyed or rose-colored glasses. He knows what he's looking at and what he wants. And he wants for something to be deepened and re-established or redone in your career and reputation space. And because Venus is in a work house, there's some major turning point opportunities coming through the sky as we approach Monday through to Wednesday to do with career and work opportunities that our dreams come true. When we move through to later on Wednesday, Thursday into Friday, the second wedge is forming. Well, Jupiter is in your sign. He's the tip of the wedge here, right? And the first thing we can say is you're lucky. You're prosperous, you're bounteous, and you're chubby, or you're pregnant, or you're muscle building because you can gain girth and weight and be a bigger body size during this transit. I'm going to start doing weights again. And this is certainly not going to be pregnant or chubby. And Jupiter here has got your ho, 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 your faith and optimism, your belief the universe is a friendly place. Take any of your cliches, you got them all going. And so you've got this disposition to see the half full cup. But he is retrograding. And he's retrograding through an area of the sky he's traveled since July 15th to go back and expand things by deepening your bounty. And as he retrogrades in your first house, he is flowing to the sun in the house of entrepreneurship and creative projects, children, pregnancy, fertility, and good fortune, and even including winning money, because it's a house of speculative gaming and winning money. And also up here, he's flowing to that full moon in Aries. Now you've had a chironic wound about some of your longer dreams and goals and wishes being able to come true. Maybe you've been wounded in your long range of goals and visions for your life since 2019, or in the way that your career gains are amassed, or in the way that you financially, or in the way that you even engage with friendship circles and groups of belonging. So that kind of gets a glow up, a sweet touch as well. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe a nice social activity, but it goes deeper than that. It's healing a chironic wound about belonging in social groups of friendships, and maybe even expanding your network of friends, but using the expansion from a base of people from your past. All righty. And if you are somebody who's an entrepreneur, the Sun Juno in the entrepreneurial house could offer us an entrepreneurial partnership or alliance of some sort that expands our sense of self, our optimism, and our reach with groups of people. Look for those kinds of opportunities as an entrepreneur. You know, maybe somebody wants to franchise you or grow you bigger or add something to you or invest in your company. Examples of that are, anyway, truly likely, if it's going to happen, Wednesday through to Friday. And Cancer. Hey, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It happens to be that you have a surprise of Uranus-Venus opposition that comes through your sky. Oh, yeah, Monday and Tuesday. You don't see it coming because it's always Uranian, right? Who knows what that's going to be Monday, Tuesday, but Uranus is opposite Venus. And it says, what don't you expect when it comes to your children? When it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to romantic love, and when it comes to artistic and creative and entrepreneurial endeavors are meanings of your fifth house. And there is a surprise that may involve news because Mercury's there, a phone call, text message, or email that surprises you. And, you know, you could find out you're going to be a grandparent, especially with Saturn in your ninth house of grandchildren. And you didn't even know your child was dating anyone. Oh, what about Uranus up here, though? You could have some unexpected career gains and financial money gains coming from entrepreneurial businesses, or through through an ally or a benefactor or a sibling, one older than you. With Venus in a flow to Neptune, also this is going to benefit you in regards to matters to do with the themes of travel, foreign travel, visas, and even legal and court matters. All said and done, Neptune is in a house of the greatest meaning of your life, and he's a visionary of what you imagine you want to see as a meaningful life. And there's just a sweet little Venus in the fifth house of her joy, giving you a glow up here. I kind of feel like you could win money with it, even though she's in detriment. Because you also have Uranus on Algol, a wealth star, and so in a house of pennies from heaven. So you either could directly win money like a lottery, or you could get money that feels like you won the jackpot Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday. As we move forward, the second wedge that occurs in the sky, and don't forget, this is general bell curve astrology. I'm not talking about your natal chart. Someone accused me of lying because they hadn't gotten an inheritance yet. I don't know, maybe they're waiting for old Uncle Joe to die. And I'm like, dude or dudette, this is general bell curve astrology. Please get a grip. I didn't lie to you. You can't say every Aries is going to get an inheritance around the world all at once. I mean, let's have a modality of thinking, right? Thinking. So, sorry if I sound condescending. I didn't mean to, but you know what I mean, guys, right? So moving forward, the second wedge you need to look at is Jupiter in your 12th house. Jupiter is luck, and he's in the house of the foreign far off shores and money and business enterprise and gains from those kinds of endeavors. And also that house of your own alone solitude time where you do things that bring you, in this case, joy, enjoyment, and bounty. And he's here at the tip of this wedge that forms Wednesday through Friday. And it's going to be a bit about a lot. You know, it's going to be the sun with Juno and the South Node in the fourth house, property, land, and real estate. And it's going to be about, Chiron, the wound in your reputation and career space, and a full light, a full moon on that, taking cue from that eclipse in April. I covered that in my Aries moon video. It looks like you may go through some kind of prosperity boost, connect or bounty, or possibly a sense of luck coming at you when it comes to matters to do with career and home. A full moon lighting up the 10th house can take up to 2 weeks to happen, but the wedge can be very simply happening in this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Do you have an ideal opportunity to negotiate a contractual agreement from home dealing with work success matters? Do you have an opportunity to make an agreement to sell a home? Because after all, you've got Pluto in the house of the buyer, moving into the house of mortgages. Maybe someone puts a flyer under your door and wants to buy your house for twice the value, and you go, I'm taking it. Something lucky like that. But also Jupiter in the 12th house is subtle, and moksha, spiritual liberation, can happen from your sun in the 4th house, where you finally have this big aha, and you liberate from some kind of karmic binding in your family of origin and ancestral line, and you have a clearing of the karma Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, a sense of freedom, liberation, and breaking the chains. Leo, sun, moon, and rising starts off this week with Venus. She's going to be moving into an opposition to Uranus on Monday, Tuesday. Is surprising you to do with home and career matters. What home and career matters may come out of the blue with a surprise you didn't expect. And certainly there's a lot of tempestuous storms with Poseidon and Venus traveling through your private home life house. And some of the conversations could have been stormy recently, right? Mercury's there, big stormy convos at home. But nonetheless, this is a sky, it has a surprise with a sweet ending, a rainbow at the end of a storm. Because Neptune in the house of chunky money, and money that belongs to your spouse and you share it with them, or money, 8th house money that belongs to the bank, the mortgage holder, the credit card, the taxes and stuff like that, shareholders, investments, this money, Neptune, now he's clear, he's not fogged up, he's going retrograde, he's showing you what's under the surface. You're going to feel maybe something with that Venus Neptune, that some kind of jolt to your reputation or your career space, or how you're perceived in the world vis-a-vis what you do in your home alone in the dark of the midnight hour, out pictures as positive things. But I can't say it any other way. Surprises can be secrets revealed, especially with Venus in the 4th and Neptune in the 8th. So it could be a shocking reveal of a secret to do with a father figure, for example. Oh my God, my dad had an extra kid. I'm making it up. But, Uranus is in the traditional house of the father. That we need to consider. Family surprises are revealed, but for the good of all is a possibility Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday. When we look at the energy here, or possibly when we look at the energy here of the second wedge it's forming, I kind of think that this could do this jackpot energy. Jupiter's in the 11th house of his joy. And we're talking about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He's retrograde. He wants to bring a deepening of bounty, but also address things from the past. But he's in his joy. And this is the house of the elder sibling. This is the house of things to do with your career gains and your vast dreams and wishes for your life, and friends who are benefactors and allies. And this Jupiter is a fairy godfather in your 11th house. And he all of a sudden, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he gets pulled into a story with this full moon up here in Aries, healing a chironic wound to do with your faith in God, your beliefs, your foreign land travels, your higher educational wounds, didn't finish school maybe. You've been wounded here since 2019, legal contracts, wounds with father figures. 9th house is also father figures. And the sun with Juno and the South Node in your 3rd house. Now, 3rd house is your neighbors and your neighborhood, but both the 9th and 3rd are travel axis of long and short distance travels, and also educational axis. So learning and traveling and bounty and luck and surprise. But someone may benefit you, because quite often when Jupiter is in the 11th, it's some person who plays Santa Claus or fairy godfather, that sibling one older, or that friend with lots of money, or that networking person with the influence. Somebody is going to benefit you on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in 9th and 3rd house matters. So get ready and see what happens. Let me know in the comments, what did it look like for you when this occurred? Human resources, ninth house, tells you there's a new job opening and they're not even going to interview for it. They're going to jump you right in there, right, in the workspace, and you're going to get the new bounty, which is a greater earnings income. That's just an example, right? Okay, moving into the next story. If you're a Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign, it doesn't matter. Take your pick. I explained the difference in the beginning. I told you how to do it. You're going to feel like this week's surprise from Venus down here and tempestuous storms could be some surprises coming from your neighbors, neighborhood people, your sibling, one younger if you have one, or surprises coming through the online world. That's what this is now in our modern day. Our online social media belongs to the third house. Surprises coming from things to do with your local environment. And yet at the same time, Uranus is, the energy of the unexpected. It gives you amplitude or energy from the Venus is Taurus, a ninth house. She can translate a surprise that has to do with travel, learning opportunities, education, or court matters into third house features. You go about your daily life in the third house and Venus is going to bump into some surprise. It may be a bit stormy at first because of Poseidon, but that surprise in your local environment, local neighborhood, etc., it ultimately flows because Neptune is forming the wedge here to the Venus opposition Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So the wedge is and then after the shock or surprise, it works out well, or it is okay because it connects you to some harmony, unconditional love, divine union with a significant love partner or a significant business partnership or some significant person in your life. So you could say unexpected opportunity to go on a getaway trip with your beloved and you're shocked and surprised. So you didn't know this was coming. That would be an example. The ninth house is churches and religious institutions, and dreamy Neptune might propose bended knee at a restaurant to marry you, right? This is the kind of thing it could be. So it's a shock, but it's also pleasant at the end of the day. Kumbaya. What about the other wedge? Jupiter is at the tip of it in your career space. Now, you would go back to July 15th, because that's where Jupiter's retrograding to. In terms of time, he's going back over old ground. He's been traveling since July 15th. He'll be doing this through to February. So you're going to try to retrace steps. And Jupiter is retracing career and reputation steps, like your job, your career, your work environment, or what the world sees you doing. If you are, say, a student, I'm a good student, or retired, I'm a good golfer. But what does the world see you do as visible actions in the world? Unless you're under a rock, people see you doing actions. That's your 10th house. When we're younger, it's career, ambition, success. When we're older, it can just be what people notice that we're up to in the world. Now, this part of your chart where Jupiter is sitting, right, and going retrograde and giving you career luck. And my daughter's a Virgo rising. She's got a dream job. I mean, she was so lucky to get it out of university, really lucky. And I told her, you'll have luck. You have luck, guys. All you Virgos listening to me have career luck right now, reputation luck. You got it. But Jupiter is up at the top of a wedge, and you want to go what's going on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Because this wedge is pointing to the full moon in the house of chunky money and the sun in the house of everyday earnings and possessions. It's going to be a financial and career surprise. That's kind of the vibe here. It's the best I can do. It's a surprise. Some kind of surprise money could be coming your way. And why is it a surprise? Well, it's kind of because now let's just say Venus is already creating a surprise, right? She's opposite Uranus in the ninth house. But for some of you, I want you to be aware that where Chiron is sitting with the North Node and the moon, full moon, it's a house of inheritances. And maybe there may be some unexpected bounty. And your reputation is, did you hear about, Sue, she's got a massive legacy amount of money from Grandma Alice or something. There's a jolt of money goodness as well from Jupiter, but it's from the past. You know about it. Maybe it's not a surprise. Let me take the surprise back. It's just something from the past brings both a reputation or a career move that's good, but the full moon in the 8th house with the North Node is chunky money. You're not earning it. It's expanding some chunky money developments for you on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of some sort. And father figures may be involved with the sun sitting in the second house, and Uranus in the house of father figures, and Jupiter in the house of father figures, using two different systems of knowledge. So a father figure can give you some bounty financially out of the blue as well, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You don't have to look for death for that to happen. You might find that the boss wants to give you more money, but he's old and you think of him like a dad figure. So keep that in mind. It's generally father figures, not fathers always, right? When we talk about the sun and stuff. All right, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a sky that starts with an opposition of Venus to Uranus, a big surprise. And the surprise is happening in your second and eighth house of monies and finances and possessions. You might have a surprise bounty to take possession of money because you got a tax rebate, because a credit card company is giving you a reduction of your interest rates, or because a bank loan or mortgage situation positively surprises you. Now, Venus opposite Uranus isn't always a positive thing, especially with Venus in detriment, but she does own the territory that Uranus on a wealth star is sitting. Wealth star Algol can be good, although off with your head. But ultimately, the wedge, it's the wedge that makes me think this cannot be all so bad. Venus is flowing at the same time this surprise is happening from second house to eighth house for you Libras this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Venus is flowing to Neptune, and this could look like job, work, or rental agreements or pet surprises. I want to possess a new rental. Surprise! I got the right mortgage for a new home. Surprise! I got the perfect way to pay down my debt. Surprise! Moving to the non-surprising wedge, we have Jupiter, and this is a wedge that starts to show up in our sky, kind of like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Jupiter at the tip of the wedge in the ninth house of foreign shores, travel, legal matters, father figures, and matters to do with academic settings. Jupiter holds that space retrograde. He's going over ground that he covered starting in July 15th, retrograde till February. So it's from the past. It's something you know already about. It's not entirely new, but his retrogradation opens up corridors of flow to your marriage house and to the house of your identity, who you think you are, the ascendant, sun, or moon. Listen for sun for career and purpose. I'm not going to explain it to you guys again, right? Listen to all three, sun, moon, and rising. So it's like, first of all, Jupiter's in the house of meaning, the meaning of your life, and he flows to you. So if you don't have a pastor or preacher or spiritual path, you may want to get one this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. No doubt about it. You could lean in that direction. But if you're in the book publishing industry where Jupiter sits, you could have a big splash up there and stuff you've been already working on to deepen your bounty. You could get a contract for a book. You could get a publishing deal. Full moon in the house of legal contracts is your seventh. You could have a major breakthrough in an existing relationship to heal a chironic wound, not just with the person you're in love with or your business partner, but the sense of not being fully okay in long-term business and love relationships since 2019. Jupiter is flowing to that wound, and there's a sense of renewal of self and a commitment and a vow to yourself, right? You might want to make a vow to another too. This has got a lot of up level. If you're in a long-term love story, you might be the one proposing marriage under this energy of this Jupiter retrograde wedge that we're seeing form in our sky Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Finally, you can get luck, wealth, and bounty from the ninth house. And you've got Algol, a wealth star with a shock and awe, Uranus in the house of inheritances. So this whole week looks like you could have some surprising bounty come out of the blue financially because of the axis of this story intersecting with the idea that Jupiter is also in a Lakshmi wealth luck house. Okay. Is it a chocolate break time? Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. You're going to say to yourself this week, it's like, oh, wow, what a surprise. Venus is in the house of you with the tempestuous storms. Are you moody, stormy, emotionally? Are you all over the map this week? And also, by the way, you're also looking good. Venus is in the sign of your identity, and you're like handsome or beautiful, or you're good. You got a good wardrobe going this week, but nonetheless, with little goth and tattoos going as well. But nonetheless, you feel good about being you. And all of a sudden, there's a surprise from somebody else. This is Uranus in the marriage house. It's a Uranus in the business partner house, audience and marketplace. The surprise comes from out there, not yours. But yet it could be for any of you who are creatives or entrepreneurs or something, or artists in the world, a viral hit, because it's the audience marketplace with Algol and the shock and surprise. And you feel oh so pleased because ultimately it flows to Neptune in the house of the creative arts, music, photography, filmography, storytelling. So all of you creatives could have a nice viral hit of some sort, or a big glow up in that very cool part of life called viral hits, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Maybe also you have a dream come true because you suddenly discovered you're pregnant or your partner's pregnant because of because of Algol and Venus. These are fertility planets. Venus is a planet of fertility. Algol is a surprise from your partner. And Neptune is in the house of baby making. So there you go. All right, moving into the Jupiter wedge. All right, Jupiter, what are you doing here? So first of all, Jupiter, it's getting cold here now. Jupiter is saying, I have fairy godfather stories for you. I want you to get more chunky money. Should I give you a massive tax rebate, a stock that takes off, an inheritance? Do you want a chunk of royalty income that shocks the bejesus out of you? How can I give you some chunk of money that you don't earn on a daily salary or paycheck? Well, that's just kind of an attempt to do that, although he will expand your connection to the occult mysteries and other things of the eighth house. A good part of that is a money house. And as he's retrograding, he's going back over territory he's covered since July 15th, and he may deepen the bounty here. And as he goes retrograde in your eighth house, and you experience this feeling of a wedge on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he takes his energy to the wounds of a full moon in their sixth house of debt, indebtedness, and the payment of the service. You have the debt and the karma in your eighth, and you pay off the debt in the sixth. Have you been weighed down by the wound of paying off credit card debt since 2019? Has it been bogging you down? Have you had to pay off some kind of loan or some kind of a personal debt to somebody else? And finally, this is time to end the debt. It's something about a freedom or a good bounty that changes the story of the indebtedness wound. You might have had wounds around pets too, but I see more money stuff going on here. Well, what about the other story of the sun and in the house of hospitals? Well, unfortunately, that could be a dad and a father figure, grandparent, somebody in a hospital. Maybe you get to pay off debt because ultimately Jupiter is an inheritance god in an inheritance house. He wants to bring you legacy plenty when he can, and he's definitely capable of doing that. So possibly, well, there's a bittersweet part to this. Maybe there was always an expectation that that money would come from that father figure that happens to be landing in a hospital this week. So I know that might sound scary for some of you, but life happens, right? Because Jupiter's still trying to bring you something good. Far off foreign shores, foreign entities, foreign companies can help you eliminate debt, and you may have a debt elimination opportunity through exciting new foreign job opportunity, especially with Mars in the house of foreign lands and foreign shores. So look for that possibility for you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or getting a job with an international company, etc. And that's all I have for you, Scorpio, today. Let me know what happens in the comments. I always go back and read these comments to find out what you guys actually experience so I can learn from you. Okay, and I think I would go Sagittarius. Let's go with the Venus surprise first. You kind of have a subtle energy field of 12-6 between the worlds, metacosmos. You could break an addiction, quit a bad habit. You could definitely have a shock that you could even do it. You may have a surprising change regarding a pet or a tenancy rental agreement, and it may connect you to matters of secrets, backroom deals, and negotiations. But watch out for Venus in the house of hidden enemies. A female may not be your ally, especially with tempestuous Poseidon and Venus in detriment. So you may have a shock or a surprise regarding a female who's not your ally, especially regarding work and work situations. But let's move on to the happy ending, is that wedge will trine Neptune. And that means that even if there is a shock with a work situation or a debt situation or a health situation, Uranus is the house of sickness, the positive energy of Neptune in the wedge formation, and this is all play out Monday to Wednesday, means that at the end of the shock, there comes a rainbow at the end of it all. And the rainbow has something to do with land, property, home, and real estate. For example, the perfect rental opportunity, the perfect pet coming to you, your dream pet, the Chihuahua from Mexico. It all ties together now, the rescue dog. And the rescue dog is definitely in this story, right? Venus in the house of foreign lands, storms are going on. You got to get the rescue dog on a plane. This is the house of pets, and this is the dreamy outcome. Neptune. Dreamy home rental, dreamy home move, dreamy home purchase or sale can also happen under this storyline Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now we move forward into the Jupiter wedge, which is more like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Jupiter in your seventh house, of your marriage partner is bringing bounty and luck to your marriage type partner if you have one. But Jupiter brings blessed endings, especially retrograde. And there may be a retraction of a commitment in love during this retrograde through to February. Yet at the same time, this wedge is pointing very intensely to healing a chironic wound in the fifth house. And the fifth house is the house of your sexual life, your romantic life. And certainly, if you want to heal that wound with a big full moon here, you could meet someone new and that's very bounteous and feels karmic from the past, Jupiter retrograde, to heal a romantic wound in the time of this week. I mean, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you may meet this person through an introduction with a social group of belonging or a friendship circle, because, of course, that's where the sun is sitting. Also, there's an opportunity here for some kind of friend, ally, benefactor, or elder sibling to come into the story Wednesday through Friday and give you a bit of a glow up in legal and contractual matters. Jupiter in the seventh house. And if you have any difficult relationships with your children, especially your adult children, there can be a major bounteous healing energy going on for those relationships Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And with Jupiter retrograde in the house of significant others, maybe a reconnection that you did not expect to see happening. Capricorn, sun, moon, and of course, rising sign. First off, Venus will deliver an unexpected shock or surprise vis-a-vis Uranus coming up this week ahead on the kind of Monday through Wednesday timeframe. You've got little tempestuous storms in the house of the elder sibling, the house of the friends and allies and benefactors, or the realization of your long-range goals and dreams, or even a tempestuous storm regarding your own values around earnings from career or money from career, etc. It's not good for your social life when Venus is in a storm cloud of Poseidon and in her detriment. And at the same time, she shows you a surprise regarding money that you can win. Uranus Algol in the house of lottery wins or gaming wins. And because you can get what we call windfalls or pennies from heaven coming off of the 11th house of good spirit, this can look like a surprising financial bounty coming to you of some kind, possibly, or some surprising, unexpected news regarding one of your children, and perhaps pertaining to issues of pregnancy and fertility for one of your children, hopefully an adult child. And that looks like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but with the trine to Neptune as well, making it a wedge, the sweet rainbow energy of the wedge is activating as well. And the wedge is pointing us down here to your third house. So an unexpected, dreamy, leisure, romantic travel opportunity, a surprising opportunity to go visit one of your children traveling towards you, and unexpected traveling, yay. Neptune's in the house in short distance travel. Or if you're a creative, you could have a dreamy, unexpected opportunity to get a book, a song, a painting, some creative activity into the hands of someone influential or important. And possibly a sibling younger and a sibling older become a part of the surprises for you. Well, one younger than you and one older than you, one above, one below, can deliver surprises to you as well, but that have a very positive vibe. Now, when we move into the wedge with Jupiter, that's a key piece of the sky on Wednesday through Friday. Jupiter is in the house of the work and health matters, also rentals, pets, and he's retrograde. So he's going backwards over old ground that he has covered since July 15th, and now he's redoing it through to February. So Jupiter brings things back from the past as he deepens your bounty in the sixth house of all the items I mentioned, including sickness. So it's good for your improving your health by going back to old ways of being or figuring out things you've done before to improve your health. And as Jupiter's going back, you're going to see that, Wednesday through Thursday, he hits that wedge to the full moon in the fourth house of your chironic wound about where do I belong? Where's my true home? Are you my home? Are you my home? Like that Dr. Seuss, are you my mother? A lot of you have felt like you don't belong in the home you're in. You're the misfit or the outsider, or you don't know where your home is. And where's your truest home? And so this vibe is going to be healed anyway, thanks to the eclipses. But also, you're going to notice that like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you are going to find perhaps something good happening regarding the word home. Now, Jupiter sextiles from the house of rental, so it could be a new rental home. The sun in the 10th house of career is also showing you that Jupiter wants to bring you an unexpectedly positive, good outcome when it comes to career and work matters. And there may be an opportunity for a new home because of a work or job, a development, or a new job opportunity coming, contractual agreements, new job. South node means from your past. So a job you've been in before or a career path you've done before and an opportunity from the past emerging, maybe for people you've worked with in the past. But with the North Node, Moon, Full Moon, Chiron, it may revolve around another country that this job offer happens in from where you currently live, or an expansion or change of home because of a job or career opportunity for single unemployed Capricorns looking for work. If you're already got your work and you don't want to work, then there's some kind of a home, career, reputation, story that can improve health, can deal with pets. This could give you a new pet, expansion and of a destined pet into your story of your life. All right. For example. All right, keeping on with the narrative, we're moving into the Aquarius sky. I am an Aquarius rising like you guys, and also sun and moon you're listening to, I hope. It is a sky that says, well, wow, surprise, Venus in the house of career, traveling with the turbulence of a tempestuous Poseidon, shakeups in the career and reputation space can be expected, and certainly divulgences, secrets, and stuff like that as well. Though this could be a tumultuous office romance, be cautious here. But Venus opposite Uranus brings surprises connected to home and career, especially a surprise in the career setting that leads to some changes or unexpected developments in the home, or vice versa. So unexpected home situations that make changes happen in the career. Well, this could be a surprise or unexpected development that you're not fond of. We do like the trine to Neptune. So Monday through Wednesday, that opens up a possibility of a golden rainbow at the end of a turbulent storm. And the golden rainbow of Neptune is in the money house. Whatever is going on, possessions, earnings, and money, home and career, it serves a glow up financially and a lot of retrogradation, right? Uranus and Neptune are retrograde. So these are also connected to things you've already been doing. And there's a kind of a prosperity moment here, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, with the dream outcomes around money connected to career. Anaretic Venus eventually becomes very intense and turbulent, but also is at a fame degree as we approach, Thursday the 17th. So you could have an incredible, sweet glow up, like a viral video or something, especially if you do your work from home. So I'll use me as an example. When I predicted Donald Trump would face assassination a week before or after the 15th of July, and also other videos said close to July 15th, I ended up having 7,000 subscribers come into my channel in 1 month because that video kind of went viral and was widely shared. The one that I put out a week before his assassination attempt, predicting it. So maybe, for example, I'll do another one of those videos that I've already done from the past. Everybody's retrograde, and someone's going to go, "Oh my gosh, she said this would happen on October 14th. I mean, just making stuff up. The second thing that's happening here is that you may have an unexpected change of home to do with rental properties. Okay, just because Uranus is in the house of your home and property, and he is talking to Mars in the sixth house of rentals, and that can be another feature developing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Wednesday through to Friday, we end up feeling the wedge in action. And the wedge with Jupiter is the one I'm talking about. Jupiter is at the tip of this particular wedge, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He's talking to the full moon in your third house from the house of money luck. Now, when I say good fortune or money luck, it's the house of good fortune. He's Santa Claus, he's retrograde. Things from the past bring you good fortune. But you can also go to a casino or win a lottery. I always jokingly call this finding the ticket under the sofa or winning on a ticket you bought before July 15th, maybe, or even just that you've been trying to play at since July 15th. He's retrograding over territory. He's been traveling now through to February, but the traveling of the territory, July 15th, behind us. So it's kind of taking old territory and deepening our bounty. Creativity is in your fifth house. Entrepreneurship is there. These things are highly activated Wednesday through Thursday. But what about the full moon in the third house? Well, the third house is social media, online world, writing projects, websites, media. It's also short distance travel and sibling younger than you. And it's also connections to things to do with your everyday neighbors and neighborhood and extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, and nieces. So possibly some of these people come into the narrative on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you may have an unexpected leisure opportunity, a travel opportunity, because leisure travel is fifth house. Short distance travel and long distance travel are activated because Jupiter's talking to the sun in the ninth house of long distance travel. Unexpected bounteous possible good things about short distance travel, long distance travel, skills-based learning, higher education, matters to do with legal court things turning out fortunate for you, judges especially, and legal negotiations, mediations, and contracts. Third marriages belong to the ninth house. Second marriages belong to the second house. First marriages belong to the seventh. Sorry, I always just talk third marriage because I'm in a third marriage, but the third marriage can also be very excitingly contractual, or agreements are made connected to bounty and fortune. If you are pregnantable, you can get pregnant. This is a Jupiter in the fifth house is a fertility transit for you or your loved one. If you're the guy, your girl could get pregnant. If you're the girl, you could get pregnant, but you could have some fertility signatures here. You're also trying to heal a wound in the third house. You might be looking at some kind of wound to your ability to communicate, to write, to activate travel plans, or to be in a neighborhood that you feel like you belong. You know, you don't belong to your hood. And so there's an unexpected prosperity prompt here, Jupiter in the house of good fortune. None of it's unexpected, but it's just playing out Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And possibly you're going to win a ticket and the whole world will know about it for a lottery, because Mercury rules the Jupiter fifth house and he's in the house of announcements to the world. And anything else I'd say about that for you guys and us? You can't go wrong when Jupiter's doing anything, right? With the retrogradation here pointing at the north node, south node axis is like literally an amplification or volume up around anything you do in the third house. And that includes writing, teaching, social media, online stuff. And there's just a boom of goodness going on for you here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Can't go wrong. We've got Jupiter here, but let's talk Venus first. Bit of a surprise Monday through Wednesday. It comes through Venus in Scorpio. We got to go back by a day because as I progress the chart, I'm losing the picture. And Venus is Scorpio Monday through to Wednesday is got storm god Poseidon beside her. Some crisis of faith, loss of spiritual faith, turbulence in your faith, turbulence with visas, foreign lands, and travel. Some turbulences regarding education, campuses, colleges, universities, or book publishing. And yeah, at the same time, Venus is going to say on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, surprise, what is going on with your third house? Unexpected university, college acceptances, unexpected surprising developments with a sibling one younger, unexpected surprising developments with sibling two older, unexpected surprising developments regarding neighbors, neighborhood, and local environment matters. And yet, I think with Venus in charge of it, you know, at the end of the day, no matter how turbulent it is, it's going to have a silver lining. And we see the silver lining most obviously playing out with the wedge to Neptune. Venus comes into a flowing relationship to dreamy Neptune right here and says something like, can we make this, and that's a basket, but we're not talking the basket today, a dreamy Neptune story, and says, can we make it happen through our visionary power. You are tasked, Saturn, realism, Neptune, fantastical, to bring the fantastical into the real. You're here at this time, only you Pisces, to be Saturnian and Neptunian at once, and to bring down to earth and into form some of your dreams, wishes, goals, and fantasies and imaginings of what you want in your life. And when we see this week ahead, Monday through Wednesday, and Venus is flowing to Neptune to make some long held dreams come true, it's also dreams that are meaningful, because that's where Venus is, in the house of the Dharma and the meaning of your life. So I find that sometimes with a Venus surprise element, with Uranus, it could just be like a money love surprise. But we're looking at your writing house, your book publishing house, your thinking, teaching, educating, traveling houses, and Neptune. What dreams do you have in those areas of your life that you wish to make true? Something good is trying to happen. And a sibling one younger than you can be particularly involved in this story. And we want to talk again about the Jupiter wedge next. Yes, we do. The Jupiter wedge is this one. We have so many wedges, guys. And I didn't want to do basket because, yeah, at the end, I'm telling you there's a basket there. It's just too much work. But anyway, when we get this energy of a Jupiter in your fourth house, he brings luck, bounty, expansion, and growth in home. So a bigger home, a larger home, an outhouse in your home, build a deck, build an extra floor, expand your home, or luck in the home, or bounty in and from the home, or luck around legacy wealth, inheritances. My Pisces rising sister's husband ended up his parents passed at once, and they inherited the family home. So that's exactly what Jupiter did as he moved there, and also allowed them to sell their old home. So it was all luck about home and homestead. So Jupiter is here this week, and Wednesday through Friday, he's talking about those stories. He's retrograding. He's going over territory he covered since July. So you're covering old ground here, and he'll be doing that till February. But the bounty, expansion, and opportunity from the past is coming to you as he talks to the wound in your possessions and money house. Yes, you've had it. Don't tell me you haven't. Sure, you've had dietary wounds, facial wounds since 2019, but a lot of Pisces have been struggling with their resources and their finances. Not everyone. A lot of you, ever since 2019. But this is a chironic wound that gives you the gifts once you heal the wound, and the gifts will be plentiful, particularly around purposeful career and making money on purpose. And as you look at Jupiter talking to Chiron, there's something that wants to be healed here about this chironic second house wound since 2019 through a full Aries moon. Big, full light in the possessions and resources, voice and vocation. Also, it could be healing about an addiction, a dietary habit that doesn't suit you anymore. You haven't been able to break free of it, or healing a wound about your facial appearance. Now, Jupiter also is talking to the sun, and that's the money you share with your spouse, especially with Juno, the marriage goddess here, or the money you share with a business partner, or the money that comes from the mortgages and the banks and the shared resources with other people, shareholder in a company. And the sun and Juno here are very legalese and contractual, and agreements must be had. Possibly there is some kind of shift around money coming up in a positive wedge way, Wednesday through Friday, regarding money and land and property, earnings and resources and possessions, right? Houses 8 and 2 are money, and Jupiter is anchored in the fourth house. If you are somebody who expects an inheritance or has one or is looking for one, this might be legal paperwork finalization. But also, if you have money you share with another person, a spousal person, a significant other, there may be some shifts in that money in a positive way, and how that money is distributed between the two of you. Maybe involving very legal matters, right? And if you're in a divorce or separation, well, that can be you're getting the house kind of thing, or you're going to share the resources equitably, and share the assets equitably. Mercury rules your marriage house, and he's in the house of courts. So for those of you going through distribution of assets in a separation or ending of a long-term relationship, this is going to give you a glow up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. all said and done, it's a nice turning point of bringing bounty from your past, even from your childhood, even from your family of origin, into the increase of your resources. And by family of origin, anybody you grew up with in the house you lived in can increase your financial well-being Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's getting dark here in Vancouver, Canada. Recording for Patreon, October the 12th, 2024. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subs. Things are slowing down on the subscriptions in the last month. Sometimes subs are dumped out by YouTube. Check to see you haven't been unsubscribed because a lot of you have been. Second of all, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. But like, I'm begging, right? But it'd be nice to cross the 100,000 mark at least by January or within January and get that darn YouTube plaque that I can somehow paste behind me on the Faco background that I've chosen for you guys, because I have a messy office space and a small little tiny space here with a day bed behind me. That's why I always put a background on. And as she doth babble, I'm going now to take a retirement from this scene with you guys and either have a glass of Chardonnay or a glass of really good organic wine from France and wind down. Yes, I'm doing sober October, sorta. Oh my God. But if you guys have autoimmune disorders and you have like arthritis at shoulder and knee, or any kind of rheumatoid arthritis or body pain, or any, I have Hashimoto's. I went on the autoimmune protocol diet the beginning of September 3rd. And it is game changing. No swelling in my knee, no arthritis in my shoulder. After a week, it went away. And when I eat a food I shouldn't eat, which turns out to be as a B blood type, chicken isn't good for me. But I've also noticed I might not be good on eggplants or tomatoes. Like I just test it and then I have inflammation or I have itchy rashes and stuff. So it's a hard one to do. But I actually feel really good on it. I'm getting deep sleeps, have more energy, feel more enthusiastic about life. So if you're out there and you get a wind of this end of the video, maybe I'll start sharing it at the beginning. I'm just an advocate for people to be well. And I just share what I love, the good chocolate, the good wine, but also the good health protocol. So I'm just hopefully somebody will hear this today who needs to hear it. The autoimmune protocol diet will be a game changer if you have inflammation in your body. Thanks for listening. Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon. I'll be on Thursday's video coming out about Venus moving through the sign of Sag and ending the Pluto Venus era. So there's a big story about the end of an era. I can't wait to do it. I've got my assistant doing some research on Venus Pluto stories, but we're no longer going to do that in the world. As she moves into Sag, it's the last Venus Pluto story in Capricorn. And individually, it means the end of an era for us as well. It's like where we leave it in the dust and go, Venus Capricorn Pluto stories are finally done. So we're going to talk about that big era ending energy for us coming through as Thursday's Venus start up in Sagittarius occurs. Bye. I'll see you guys soon. Ciao, ciao. Uh-oh. Yeah.